Hi guys, thanks for joining us and welcome to this week's episode of Saint of the Week. Now this week we're not just thinking about one person, we're thinking about a whole group of people. And that is because this week is the feast of English martyrs. Now, several hundred years ago it was illegal to be a Catholic in England. And that meant, unfortunately, lots of people were persecuted for their faith. And lots of people were murdered because they wanted to be Catholics. And this week, the church remembers and celebrates the lives of 40 of those people. These are people who were incredibly inspirational, lived remarkable lives, and gave their lives for their faith. So we're going to hear about 5 of those martyrs and why they inspire us today.
Fact number 1. St. Margaret Ward became aware of a priest who was being mistreated in prison called Father Watson. And she went to visit Father Watson every day, building up the trust of the guards of the prison, so they no longer had to search her when she was entering and leaving the prison. So one day she decided taking a rope to help Father Watson escape the prison. And as he did that, as he was escaping, he hurt his leg, which meant he couldn't get the rope down. So Margaret Ward, in the hurry of trying to get this priest out of prison, went to a man on a boat, and asked him she gave him some money so that she could swap clothes with Father Watson, so Father Watson could make an escape. And he did, though unfortunately it meant that Margaret Ward was immediately arrested, as she was the last person allowed into the prison. And unfortunately then she was executed and died. So, fact number 2, we have St. Anne Lyon. Now, Anne Lyon, she lived in a house where she allowed priests to come in and hide, and she allowed them to celebrate Mass when it wasn't allowed to happen. And she did this underground, so there was a whole celebrations of Mass used to happen underground that happened in her house. And one day, the people around her in her neighbourhood, they were getting suspicious that there was too many people entering her house, so they called the authorities. And the house was searched and the priests were found, and she was arrested and executed. So number 3, we have St. Ambrose Barlow. Now St. Ambrose Barlow was a Catholic all of his life, and when the Reformation started, all of his family became Protestants, but St. Ambrose Barlow stood his ground and stayed as a Catholic and became a priest. And as a priest, he refused to go into hiding and he refused to flee the country. So he would openly celebrate Mass, which was obviously very dangerous to do at the time. And one day he was caught, but he refused to cooperate with the authorities until he let all of the congregation go. And it was only him that was caught at that celebration of Mass, and he was caught, imprisoned and sentenced to death. Number 4, we have St. Swithin Wells, and he grew up in a wealthy family in Hampshire, and his family used to help hold secret funerals for Catholic priests. And he grew up in that lifestyle of helping priests hide, and he took over that role when he was an adult. Unfortunately, St. Swithin was caught when he was helping trainee priests travel. So he was helping them get from a safe house to another safe house, and he was caught, and unfortunately he was sentenced to death. So number 5, we have St. Margaret Clifford. Now St. Margaret used to risk her life every day to help keep priests safe, and she sent her son abroad because he wanted to become a priest, he wanted to train, so she sent him abroad, and there was lots of questions asked in the community about why her son had just disappeared. Obviously she didn't want to let people know that he had gone to become a priest. But one of the boys who delivered mail to the house, he snitched on St. Margaret, and he told the authorities that there was a priest hole in there, which is where they used to hide priests if their house was being searched. And the house was searched, and she was caught. And she was sentenced to death, but in a weird way. So she was told to lie down flat, and they put a sharp rock on her back, and then they put her front door of her house on top of her back, and then on top of the front door they put even more rocks and stones and heavy things to weigh the door down, so her back broke, and then she was left there for 15 minutes to die, which is not very nice.
So I hope you enjoyed learning about those 5. remarkable people, and all of the English martyrs are remarkable people, and it really is something that is worth looking into. Sadly, around the world there is still religious persecution. People are still not free to celebrate their faith. We're very fortunate in England to be able to do that. But millions of people around the world are persecuted every day for their faith. So this week, as we reflect on those saints, let us also take some time to pray for those people who are still being persecuted. Hope you have a great week. See you again soon. Goodbye.